Echo.
I'm going to break down the dating pool for you. We have all the men. We need to take away the ones that are married, aren't age appropriate because we are over 40, that are gay.
My dad's dad died when he was 7, so essentially his example that he had of a man stopped at the age of 7 for him. Now he actually did a little bit better than his father because he took me to about 11, 12 before he became emotionally absent. And
they're not all in my area. We need to then spread these people around the world. This is what we're dealing with. Any questions?
Why we not talk? Well, let's talk about it. We live. We live. Yeah.
The last 7 days have been totally insane, but we made it. Now buckle up and get ready for the most organic conversation on the internet with your hosts, the Force, the King, the Kamikaze, the Great and Terrible. Up to it, down to it. Pour a glass and talk some trash. Welcome to the show, and thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a good time tonight right along with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend. Let's go up to it.
Sir, let's get this party started, baby. A good old time tonight. Let's get it in. I love it. We're back on another Friday night one more time. Your boys, the most organic conversation on the internet. We back again. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Assuming nothing's changed since last week, and we can still call you that. Funny, kind of given the state of things right now. It's very interesting how prophetic those words almost become. But welcome, welcome back one more time for another episode of Up to It, Down to It, man. We're gonna have a good time tonight here on Friday. Welcoming y'all to the weekend. You know, I know we don't normally do it this way, but since I got one poured, man, I'd say we take a ceremonial sip, shot, whatever you want to call it. Let's take a quick ceremonial one to invite you guys to the early show.
Early.
Yeah. We out here with it, man. Tonight is going to be a good one. You said what?
Came prepared to die.
Yeah. Let's get it, man. And if we either gonna die by alcohol, or they're gonna cancel us, one or the other. This is gonna be one of those episodes, I think. But we're gonna have us a good time. We're gonna be breaking down a few things. We may get a special guest later on in the episode. We definitely got a special guest coming next week, so stay tuned so we can give y'all some more details and info on that. Let me go ahead and adjust my camera real fast. We live. There we go.
All the way.
All right. So that being said, let's get these intros down, man. I gotta make sure my grass is rolled anyway. So let's get these intros down. My man Kev, talk to his brother. What's going on with you? How you doing? And what are you sipping on tonight?
I had a nap today, so I'm feeling real good. But happy Friday to everybody. One more time, shout out to the teachers because we are slowly headed back into the trap. So here's to the last days of summer. And so much so that I've not even had a chance to appropriately run out. So if y'all see me lift up 4 or 5 different color bottles, it's because we're just taking the last of everything. So right now, the shot you saw was Jameson, and now the Jameson's gone. All right. And currently in the glass, we got the Martell. We mixed it with the Canada Dry. Is it ginger ale or ginger ale? Whatever. Listen, as long as it ain't Aquafina, put something in your glass and we're not judging you. But here's to a great show. Trey, glad to be here with you. And man, let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna have us a good time tonight, man. I got my nice little mix right here, so y'all know what happens when I pick up the dad mug. It doesn't say dad on that side. The dad mug. There we go. Y'all know what happens. Something is going down. Some drink is going down. All right. We got a little bit to get into tonight, and I think we're going to be able to cover a good amount. I want to get right into it.
Let's do it.
So we had a viewer submission. I believe it was last week, maybe it was earlier this week, but we had a viewer submission, and it was a 2-part submission. So I want to dive into both parts, right? And this is for now, as y'all know, we have said from the beginning, it started as a joke, but we kind of kept it going, and that is our mission is to make families great again.
For sure,
right? And I think that's still true. Make families great again. Make the nuclear family great again. Make intact families great again. Make raising children great again. Make being smart great again. All of that, right? So with our focus on the family, these next 2 weeks are going to be very important, I think. So let's get into this. We talk a little bit about the dating pool, and I know you can go into this. I know your your thought about the dating pool is that the dating pool has pee in it.
It is filled with urine, and cleaned with fentanyl. That's it.
It's absolute trash. I think we got some problems here. And so there was a young lady who kind of broke down, if you will, the reasons she believes why the dating pool is infested with pee and clean with fentanyl. I think that's a very good example. Great way to describe that, what all is going on. So without further ado, yeah, Jay, I feel the same way, man. I feel exactly the same way. So without further ado, let's get into this viewer submission, and we're going to talk a little bit. Is this the right one? Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the dating pool. And we're guys, so we're going to first break down what the dating pool is for the fellas. So let's talk about it.
I broke down the dating pool for women. Just to be fair, I'm going to do the same thing for men. So if you're dating in your 40s, this is what we're working with. So we have all the women. We need to first take away the ones that are married. And then the ones that want to marry you on the second date. The gold diggers. Let's take away the women with their past trauma issues. The ones that might be a little uptight in bed. And then the ones that are too loose in the streets. Want a woman who leans into her feminine energy. So we're going to take the ones who don't do that away. And then the ones who have let themselves go. You don't want to date them. And then from that, all you have to do is take away the ones that are batshit crazy. And here we have it. And as you know, we take them and we spread them around. And this is to scale. So as you can see, every 20 to 40 miles, you should be able to find a good woman.
Oh man, that's the scale. That's the scale. That is the scale she said.
And this is scale. So what is happening outside?
Yeah, man. It is a bad storm outside. I guess I guess it was making its way south because it hit here earlier today, knocked the power out and everything. It was crazy.
It's doing the absolute most. So hopefully y'all don't lose me while we're on here. All right. She didn't take away enough for batshit crazy. I just, all right, like let's be real. All right.
Let's be real.
She did not take away enough. I don't even know what she was. Were those peanuts? Was that what was that? Was that granola? What was she? I don't even know what she was moving, but I feel like after that part, there should only be Trey. Are you muted, man? Come on, man.
No, I'm not even muted.
Oh,
is it okay. You muted?
Oh, I thought it looked like your mouth was moving.
Oh, no. You good.
I was getting, man, it's too early to start like that. Nah, but I mean, like that's and that's kind of what. And again, there's a woman part to it too, and the stories are a lot of the same. So wait y'all turn. All right, but like that's a lot of what we're dealing with, and I would say that like particularly as we're getting older, like either in the 40s or hitting the 40s. I'm 38, so I'm 2 years away from 40. Like when you meet women who are around that same age, there's a clock that ticks 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 if that's the goal. And just in general, everybody's in competition with everybody. So why are all of my friends married, with children, settled down, blah 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 blah, and I'm still whatever whatever whatever. So that want to get married on the second date thing is as real, as it gets. So I just like she ain't miss in there, but it just there's not much left. And that prude in bed part is important too, because what are we, what are we doing? Don't be a prude.
We're adults.
We're adults.
We're adults,
We're,
and we are capable of doing adult things.
and the even worse than the like being a prude is not being teachable, because teachable goes across all platforms. So don't just, let me teach you how to
Facts.
be financially savvy. Let me teach you the things I like so that you can do the things I like. That's, why would you not want to please your partner? Like that's red flag number one. Like if you're like, this is what I like, and they're like, nah, I'm not doing that. Why would you not want to make your partner happy within reason? Within reason. But like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. It's an audition. Y'all dating is an audition for when we get married, and
Hey, I mean, just a smidge. Like,
yeah,
for me, not for everybody.
yeah,
'Cause, yeah, too loose in the streets. That's
yeah,
that's abuse. But
yeah.
can you for me?
Yeah. Ironically enough, I found a lot of the ones that are prudes in the bed were the ones that were loose in the streets previously.
And it's crazy.
That's just my experience personally. I don't shoot me in the comments, okay? But that's just my experience. A lot of the ones that are prudes in bed, like they unwilling to do really anything with because they was all loosey goosey before they got to you.
And it's crazy because I saw a video, and please stop me if we're gonna get into this at some point, because I can't remember if I sent it to y'all or not. But there was a man who was like, he wasn't excusing. So again, I feel like I need to say this a few times. He was not excusing. He was not excusing. He was not excusing cheating like in a relationship. But he was like basically trying to like basically bring an explanation to why it happened. And one of the things that he pointed out was like, when like a man has his woman, like he looks at her like as a goddess. So like there are things that like basically he don't want to slut her out because that's his girl. But he has no problem slutting out one that's not. And it just, like I'm not saying it's okay. And he didn't say it was okay. But that was an explanation. Or like the other side of that, he was saying that, like because like that's your woman, she feels like that's not her role. Like I don't know where that comes from, but like she doesn't want to do the things that you like now that she's your woman or whatever the case may be. And it happens, it happens, it happens. And like there are people who are willing to do the things, which is why you got to play all the roles for your partner. Let me make it universal. Play all the roles for your partner to keep your partner satisfied,
Yeah, because otherwise they'll go somewhere else and get satisfied.
which we're not
You know,
excusing, because they could also
yeah.
leave.
I don't excuse it, but I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not okay. Like we are not condoning on this channel or on this show. We are not condoning cheating on your wife or your husband, right? In this case, we're talking about the guy. So, fellas, we are not condoning you cheating on your wife
Never said that.
by saying this.
Never said that.
However, ladies, we do understand that we need you to understand that there's always someone willing to do the thing or things that you won't. All right. And so again, I'm not condoning it, but I'm saying I understand
Not at all.
you have needs that you want too, right? And I think probably the easiest and most basic need for your spouse is sexual gratification. I think that's the easiest, well, not easy, maybe I think it's the most basic thing, right? That you can want to do. Again, like you said, why would you not excuse me, why would you not want to please your spouse, right? Why would you not want to please your significant other? Why would you not want them, their heart skipping a beat when you walk in the room and stuff like that? Like, why would you not want those things, right? So I think that's probably a fairly easy thing to do. I mean, yeah, maybe there are some factors that cause you to not want to, but at the same time, understand that those factors will probably make him question whether, I'm not saying he should do it, but it'll probably make him question whether he should
Again,
go and get that.
clear.
You got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point he might be questioning whether he should go get that itch scratched. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying he should, but I mean, after a while, most men are probably going to question whether they should get that itch scratched, especially if they have an option to get the itch scratched. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I will say this: I agree with you that not nearly enough pieces were taken off the board for batshit crazy.
At all.
At all. Probably could have took out 85% of all the nuts that she spilled onto that table. 85% of them could have probably went to batshit crazy, straight up.
Yeah.
Just saying. And what's the other thing? Too loosey goosey in the streets. Of course, the sad part is the first thing she said was separate the ones that's married, but I hate to say it, nowadays you be seeing the married ones acting out the most.
Yeah.
And it's not all of y'all. Okay, so y'all good ones, y'all that are subscribed to this channel that watch this all the time, watch this show. Y'all are the good ones. We know that you're all going to heaven. Ain't gonna be no questions or nothing like that. Y'all are good. Y'all are the real ones, the good wives out here. But the rest of them. As for the rest of y'all,
we call you Harlem.
Yeah, man. So some harlots from Harlem, man. And I think that's a big problem too. So yeah, I'll say legitimately a lot of the things that she separated for us at least were fairly reasonable, and I think that does leave a small pool of eligible or suitable. There we go. A smaller pool of suitable women, suitable wives.
For sure.
So
do that.
Probably could have added another category for hurt by their ex and can't get over it.
The unhealed, yes.
Unhealed. There we go. Unhealed. There we go.
Yeah, because I don't think she touched on that, and that one, yeah, the unhealed is it's real bad. It's real bad.
And I think what's worse, this is my opinion, I think what's worse is the unwillingness, kind of like you were saying with the sex thing, right? If she's unwilling to learn what you like and unwilling to do what she needs to do to please you, and also unwilling to go get healed from whatever it is that's causing a blockage in y'all's relationship, also unwilling to heal from that. Lightning, thunder.
It's all the things. Yeah.
Cats and dogs.
Boom. It's booming. It's running paradiddles out the window,
I love it. They got whole drum cadences out there playing. Yeah. On all eights, no tonals.
Yeah, do better.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. It's a very, very interesting thing, and I think the pool for men in particular, I think is very small, and I think unfortunately it's getting smaller. We often talk about social media's influence on on people in general, but particularly on young women, and I think that's social media influence and hearing people say things like oh, well, he can't pay for this and buy that and give me this and I don't want him. All right, cool. So basically short form prostitution is okay.
Everything needs gratification, like instant gratification. don't nobody want to work for nothing. Don't don't nobody want to see the bigger picture.
Right.
It's a lot. And
Right.
my favorite phrase: if it doesn't apply, don't take offense. So if you're
Right.
offended, that means we stepping on toes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say
If it don't apply, let it fly. But yeah. So I think that's pretty interesting. I'm curious though. I want to see what the other side of this is, and what she believes the dating pool is like for women, and at least want to hear what I think might be interesting is the things that she separates from men. I wonder if men are going to have a batshit crazy section and stuff. Let's find out. Let's take a look.
You're dating over 40 and someone asks you, why are you still single? Show them this. I'm going to break down the dating pool for you. We have all the men. Need to take away the ones that are married, aren't age appropriate because we are over 40, ones that are gay, ones that are broke, the ones that are emotionally unavailable, the ones that still have drama with their ex. We're gonna take away the ones that are perpetual bachelors, okay? Then we have the ones that don't know what they want, the ones that love bomb you. And then, all right, so this is what we have. We want someone who's attractive. We have 10, so I need someone over 5'8". So a few people who decide they still want to smoke cigarettes, they have to meet the people who don't want any more children. And this is what I'm left with. However, we need to take this then. They're not all in my area. We need to then spread these people around the world. This is what we're dealing with. Any questions?
Wow.
that's so. So what's crazy is like there were more aesthetic things in the woman's side than there was the men's, and I want to be perfectly clear that came from a woman. It ain't even us. She literally did the thing. Go back and watch the video. And the one that pissed me off, and it pisses me off as a 6'3" person, is she said there that are at least 5'8". Listen, can y'all get over yourselves? I understand it. No, I don't. I actually don't. Can y'all get over yourselves? Because if you are at a point where you are trying to find the right man, you are literally doing yourself a disservice by disqualifying someone based on their height. So can we start there? Like, can we please start there? Grow up. Like that's my message. Can you grow up? Please, and thank you. But the part that's always like hilarious and contradictory to me is the love bombing part. Now, I do understand the concept of love bombing, but there's a particularness in women in this area that blows me, because like it's not love bombing if it's who you want it from. You know what I'm saying? It's not like stalking, it's not overbearing, it's not too much when you want it from the person.
Yep.
Like
Yep. Like it's not harassment getting a random dick pic to
yeah,
you
like
from a guy that you like.
if it's who you want it from, then all of these things are okay.
Right.
You tell the world apply pressure, but then when the pressure comes, then you call it love bombing, or the pressure comes and then they're not giving you space. Like, you gotta decide like which part of this, you know what I'm saying, battle you want to be in. Do you want a person who's interested in you to truly show you that they're interested in you, or are you legitimately just playing with people's feelings while you wait for the right one? If that's where you are at, what she said, 40 years and up, you have got to grow up. You're not going to find what you're looking for because you're a child.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, is like, it makes sense. Of course, take out the married men. You know what I'm saying? Take out the men who are broke. Because listen, a woman saying you can't be broke is not the same as a woman saying you got to buy me whatever. But of course, like, you can't you can't be in this process broke. It costs to go out. Like literally every time I step out the house, soon as my foot crosses the threshold of my door, I done spend $100. And I don't know, like I don't even know how. Like we can go to the mailbox and I lost $100 just going to the mailbox. So what happened? So you can't be broke. You can't be broke. So I'm 100% with that. As a man pursuing a woman, you cannot be broke. You ain't got to spend.
Well, no. Let me push back on that real quick because I don't disagree, but I'm just asking a question. Does it matter if she's also broke?
Actually, I don't think so. I don't think so. And for two reasons. One, if you ask a woman, she's gonna tell you no, it don't matter because the man is supposed to be courting her. So if that's her opinion, cool. And for what it's worth, like we've said this a lot. That's not the breaking, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not make or break for us. So like a broke woman, a broke person, and this is also where I wish people would grow up. A broke person doesn't have to be broke forever. So like if
Right.
if I'm for you, if I'm a good partner, if I'm responsible, like if I see something bigger, better for you, I'm not going to, if I'm truly interested in you, I'm not going to let you stay in that place. So if I believe in your potential, I'm first going to like ride for you based on your potential. At a point though, if you never go from potential to fruition, I got to walk away from that. So if you are broke but you got good work ethic, if you are broke but you are, articulate, intelligent, we can get you to a place where, you know what I'm saying, you can make something of and for yourself. So like that's it's not a make or break for me.
Yeah, I think broke is more of a mentality than it is a set dollar amount. Like sometimes, people like life deals you different cards, right? And sometimes people get all face cards, and sometimes you get the two of clubs in your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is, right? You got to play the hand that you dealt. So I agree with you 100% on that. I think too much emphasis is being put on financial status, and that is part of why women get with men who have high financial status but are unhappy because all that they brought to the table was their financial status.
Right.
All they brought to the table was I can provide a lifestyle for you. All they brought to the table was trips and bags and the truth of the matter is, and though a lot of women won't admit it, that shit gets old eventually. It just does, right? It gets. But say again.
Like unless you're vain and that's your point, like if that's what you're going
Right.
for, then by all means. But like if you're actually looking for more, it does get old quick.
Yeah. I was gonna say unless you are vain or a gold digger or something like that. Like otherwise, that's gonna get old at some point. That routine is gonna get old, right? It's no different, I think, from the routine of like the guy did something he had no business doing, and he makes up for it, by coming home with roses, right? And sometimes preemptively coming home with flowers and concert tickets and stuff like that, preemptively to get your mind off of whatever thing they probably did. Honestly, that's kind of what you're asking for when you make the financial status your priority. Am I saying that one should not have financial status? No. Am I saying that if you get a man that has good financial status, you should, run away from him? No. Although I could make that argument about men that are well off and, how they know they have the pick of the litter. They know it's kind of like buying. It's like if you imagine, a aisle in the grocery store of cereal boxes, like it's all your boxes on the shelf and they can just buy them, right? I mean, one could make that argument, but I'm not going to make that argument.
Shelf.
Yeah, box on the shelf. Yeah, you get it. Right? I mean, your box is on the shelf, and how much for your box? $5.49? Great. How much for your box? $6.50? Fantastic. How much for your box? Oh, only $2.25? Fantastic. Off-brand box, right? So, so
Yeah, you need great value box. That's
great value box. Oh, man. But again, while yes, I could make that argument, I'm not going to. I'm not going to make that argument. So again, I won't say that financial status is not important, but the question is that the number one priority? I think it's a bigger priority. It's a greater priority to have somebody that is down for you, with you, gonna roll with you no matter what. Like I've said before on previous episodes, for richer or poorer. in sickness and health. Because that's another thing about money. If you get sick, hurt, or can't work, you can't make the money. And then when you can't make the money, if your foundation is built on finance, again, I'm not saying don't pursue the bread. I'm not saying don't secure the bag, but if your relationship is based on financial gain, on money, on lifestyle, then as soon as that man is sick, hurt, or can't work and can't provide that lifestyle for you, then you won't leave him. And here's the wild part: you won't leave him and not leave him with whatever he had. You won't leave him and try to take half.
Half, Eddie.
You know what I'm saying? Like you won't try to take half of somebody you said didn't have enough. Ain't that wild? Ain't that something?
You know, it's hard out here
Why
for.
do you let it fly? But I'm just saying.
And what's crazy is like, you know, the more weddings that I attend, it's actually like you don't even hear vows like that anymore. And I think it's to leave those things out, you know, like everybody's like reciting poetry, but ain't nobody making commitments. And that's, you know, like it's a shame, but that's why we see divorce rates where they are. It's why I like my thoughts on marriage are so serious. You know, I would rather take my time and get it right than, you know, rush to say I did it and it fall apart for all of the reasons that we're seeing it happening. But people
Yeah.
miss that. Like, you know, in the preparation for a wedding, we spend more on weddings than we do on counseling and therapy. We spend more on weddings than we do on households and, you know, clearing debt. We spend more on weddings than we do on like the time that we spend to truly like get to know our partner and find out what they like, what they expect as y'all, you know, build your lives together. So like just a lot of our priorities don't seem to be in the right
Yeah.
place. And that part makes me very, very nervous. But you know, it's what I say to y'all all the time. Like I'm grateful to have a circle of married friends that show me like the benefits and the success of marriage. Because a lot of people I know are divorced, but that's like I can, you know, gladly say that that's not the majority of my circle. The majority of you all are, you know, thriving in your marriages, are, you know, like honoring your wives. And I get a firsthand look at that on the daily. So I appreciate the space I'm in, you know, with you all.
Absolutely, man. And I can say personally, I appreciate hearing that. And I'm sure all the other ones can appreciate that too. And I think you brought up a good point that, you know, if well, I'm gonna say it this way: if I can't build with you, what are we doing? What are we doing? If I can't build with you, not if I can't already have it together and you wait for me at the finish line, not that. Because if you're just waiting for me at the finish line, then I could just pick a box off the shelf. How much for you? How much for you? How much for you? Right?
We got to do better.
Hell yeah, we got to do better. I think we can't. Again, we are not saying finance isn't important or money is not important. What we're saying is that shouldn't be. I won't speak for Kev. What I'm saying is that should not be the main priority. That should not be the main crux of your relationship. I think, you know, man or woman, and damn sure if you're a man, is, you know, obligating. And I'm not saying the woman can't. You know, we shouldn't have women. You should not be with women that are lazy, right? That literally just want to sit around and shop on Amazon all day and go spend all your money unnecessarily at random stores and stuff like that. Don't contribute to nothing. You know, I'm not even talking about necessarily bills, because I'm a fan of wives and stay-at-home mothers. I'm a fan of that. But you got to be able to contribute in some way, right? So they shouldn't be lazy like another child, another dependent. It shouldn't be that,
Please,
right?
please don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that. But also, I don't think that, you know, we say, oh, well, this girl can't keep a job. Granted, and she can't keep a job, it might be because of her attitude. That's a whole different conversation. But I don't think we should put those same parameters on women. But I do think it makes sense for women to look at us, because if she's with you, she's supposed to be following you. And the question about her following you is, where are you taking her? Right? And she can't just follow you just because you're a man. I don't believe in that either. I do believe men are the head of the household, and I do believe it goes God, husband, wife, children. But also, you gotta, as a man, you gotta have good, solid direction.
Don't be dumb.
Goals. Yeah, she gotta follow you somewhere.
He could be following you off a cliff.
Yeah, word.
You could be
Word.
anything in the world. Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb, man. Don't be dumb. Don't let them get you with that. You know, another thing I noticed about the two, I think you alluded to it earlier, and I'm going to come back to that, is that the differences in how she separated the men versus how she separated the women.
Wow.
Very, very different. For the men, it was more aesthetic, right? They got the ones that aren't attractive. So you got the ones that are under 5'8" or 5'8" or shorter or whatever, right? And I'm saying this again. I'm saying this as a 6'4", 210 or so pound man. I lost a lot of weight. I'm only 210 now. It's ridiculous. But I'm saying this as a 6'4", 210 pound man. There are good men that are shorter than me. Right? There are good men that are shorter than 5'8". A lot of y'all missing out on y'all blessing, and most of y'all ain't 5'8". I'm just saying, most of y'all ain't 5'8".
Do better.
So, you know, a lot of y'all 5'3" talking about I need a man that's more than 5'8". What you talking about? He still look down at you?
And even if you put heels on, y'all eye to eye.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? You know, I used to love quick reminiscent thing. My parents were the same height, right? For real. Like my dad might have had a half an inch on my mom, right? And it was fun listening to them argue back and forth about which one of them was short, you know, because, you know, my dad called my mom short. My mom called my dad short. And I'm looking at both of them, towering over both of them because they were like 5'6" and I'm 6'4". So I'm sitting there towering over both of them talking about, what you talking about? Both of y'all short. What you mean? So anyway, that was fun stuff. My point is this. My dad was under 5'8" and he was a good man. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like it just, that is a silly thing to base a relationship off of. I think that's a very, very silly thing. Yes, I know women tend to be more attracted to men that are taller than them, but to put an actual height requirement, like, you know, as if you're going to get a better man at 5'9" and an even better one at 5'10" and then 5'11", and holy cow, the holy grail is 6 feet. Come on, man.
It is. We are the prize.
I mean, we are the prize. 6 feet, men 6 feet and above are the prize. I'm sorry for y'all. That's like 5'11" and 3/4.
We're listen. We're trying to get y'all a shot, but we are the prize. Yes.
We know we're the prize. That's why we try to give off these assists. You know, we ain't got to score all the points. You know what I'm saying? Triple double. Here you go. Alley-oop, my nigga. No look. Yeah, you feel me? Let me know in the comments what y'all think, man. 6 feet guys, the prize. Also, if you heard the video, is the lady tripping or does she have a point? I think she has a little bit of a point, but I do think it's very interesting to note how she separated the guys and how she separated the ladies. And I also found it interesting. I don't know if you saw this or not, but I also found it interesting that there were more good women left than there were good men left. Right, you know, that might have been completely by accident. It's just something I noticed. You know, that's what we do.
Right? I noticed it too. But I thought to myself, well, there are more women in the world than there are men. So, like,
right,
you know. But I also peep game.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Yeah, we try to be objective on this show, but also we gonna call out bullshit when we see it.
It's happening. It's happening.
For sure. All right, cool, man. Like I said, let us know in the comments what y'all think. We're gonna switch subjects just a little bit. Actually, in preparation for next week. Next week is going to be an episode you are not going to want to miss. We have a special guest coming through, marriage Coach Randy coming through. He's going to holler at us a little bit. He's been featured on the Dear Wifey podcast. Check that out. Him and his wife, they were on there. They've got an incredible story, an amazing story. And we're going to have him come on next week, tell us a little bit of his story. We're going to ask him some tough questions and get some of his reactions to some of these things as well. So you're not going to want to miss next week. Tell your friends to tell your friends to tell your friends. If they're thinking about getting married, they're going to want to watch it. If you got a long-term boyfriend or girlfriend, you're going to want to watch it. If you're thinking about getting into a relationship, you're going to want to watch it. Next week is going to be good. Don't miss it.
Hell, if you think about coming out of a relationship, you might want to watch it. If you
Hello, how about that?
If you got struggles in your marriage, you might want to watch it. If you know, it's gonna be legit. It's gonna be legit.
It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be fire, man. So we're looking forward to that next week. Coach Randy's gonna be on board. So Get ready for next week. With that being said, let's move on to this to our third and final topic here. And I think this one actually, as we were talking earlier in the pre-show, this is a bit of a tearjerker for me, right? To some extent, and you'll probably understand once you hear the statements that are said. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this. I know we tend to give parents a hard time, right? And I get it. Some of us had great parents. Some of us had not so great parents. Some of us had involved parents. Some of us not so involved parents. And so on and so forth. And there are different reasons and all of that kind of thing. But I think the central message, as we're going to talk about, is that your parents took you as far, or so. Let's look at this clip real quick, and then get our reactions to it. Let's get your shots. Oh boy.
My dad took me as far as he could take me. Essentially,
you gotta pause there.
Okay.
We have to pause there because that is so real. They took us as far as they could. And if you don't realize that, we will be reaching out for them for things that they don't have.
Yeah, that's 100%. My dad's dad died when he was 7. So essentially, his example that he had of a man stopped at the age of 7 for him. Now, he actually did a little bit better than his father because he took me to about 11, 12 before he became emotionally absent and probably didn't know how to
What the next level was.
connect with me, be that example, so forth and so on. But one thing I do believe is that God will send us what we don't have. And sometimes God packages what we need up in other people.
Yeah.
He'll send us fathers that we didn't have.
We're working for the future, because working for the present, we ain't making no progress.
So working, yeah, real talk, man. So working towards the future. Kev, let me get your just kind of off the cuff initial reaction to this.
Ooh, so I have like two like very big feelings, and the first is like this is spot on for our parents and our parents' parents, spot on for them. That's my feeling. My second feeling is that, and if this sounds harsh, I hope it's a challenge to do better and not a reason to stay where you are. There's literally no excuse now for us and generations going forward. So for our parents, like if they took us as far as they could take us, it's because they didn't have access to the things that we have access to. And there were certain, if not a lot of limitations, depending on the age of your parents at the time. I feel like I was reading something the other day. It was like, and Trey, you would probably know better than I would, that like women couldn't open their own bank accounts until sometime in the 1970s. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah. So like to think about that, like that for what it's worth, that's and we're in the year 2024. 60 years ago is not that like it's not that long in the grand scheme of things. So like if like for me being raised by my mother, hell, if she was born in 56 and if she couldn't even like open a bank account when she was 18, 19, 20, whatever, like understanding her own finances, being connected in those kinds of places, like there were experiences that she didn't get later on until later on, if at all. So like there were limitations that existed at those points that kept her from being able to maximize her self as a person and eventually as a parent. Now, though, with all of the liberties that we have and even the information that we're privy to, like there's not an excuse to stop where you are. It's a lot of stuff I don't know. I'm literally like I learned how to swim so that I could support my son in the water. You know what I'm saying? I learned elementary reading stuff so that I could work with him on reading. Like anything that I don't know, like even while, he was in the womb cooking, like I didn't understand any of that stuff. But when they gave me literature, I read it. The internet was a resource. I downloaded all the baby apps. Like we have access to information. So even if I didn't get it, because I know what he's going to need, and even if I don't know what he needs, I know how to get to what he needs. So like I'm going to take him as far as he wants me to take him, as opposed to taking him as far as I possibly can. So those are my big feelings. Like now there's not a reason why we can't just grab more information and continue to pass it. But I can wholeheartedly understand why our parents, their parents took them as far as they could go.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that it was 1960, by the way, and the Equal Opportunity Act was 1974, where men's signatures weren't required, right?
Okay, that part.
For them to have their own, right? So that's that. And I would also say with that I'll piggyback on what you said. The world that our parents grew up in is not the world we're in today. Okay, so like for example, women, of course, definitely had the issue with the bank accounts, but also there was no such thing as credit until 1989. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my mom was born in 1960, so she was basically 30, right, when credit was introduced. Okay, as a major thing. Now, did banks always have some form of loan worthiness, credit worthiness, all that kind of thing? Yes, but like credit scores, FICO scores, things like that didn't become a thing until the late 80s. So I think our parents do take us as far as they know to take us, and that's kind of to your point, which I would agree with. At this point, there's little excuse to not know certain things. Okay, so like you may not know, you can learn, like you said, how to swim. You can learn how to bowl. My daughter's into cheerleading. I'm learning more about cheerleading etiquette and stuff like that. Like that's not my thing. I played football. I was who the cheer and basketball. I was who the cheerleader.
Cheered for it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm learning a little bit about that because that's what my daughter's involved in. Same thing with singing. I'm a drummer. I'm a drummer. I'm a bass player, a saxophonist. I'm not really a singer, right? But I have a kid that loves to sing, so I got to learn a little bit more about that. I think that's one thing, and then there's other things that come that you can't learn out of a book. And like one of the things that the guy mentioned in the clip was his father not being emotionally available after a certain point. And kids and people and things change. They grow up. They get their own thoughts. They get their ideas. They have their moods. They have their mood swings, right? They want to kind of strike off on their own and so on and so forth. And sometimes if you didn't have a parent, particularly a father, if you didn't have a father during those formative years, not formative years, but during those teenage years, which I think are still formative, right? Adult formative
Those
years.
are the wildest ones.
Yeah. And if you don't have that connection there, then you may not know how to then reciprocate that connection when you have a child that's going through that. You may not have a great idea for that. Now, that's no excuse because you can get therapy from anywhere, right? Nowadays, you can go on Chat GPT and type in ways to better connect with my teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kind of ways that you can figure those things out. So while I agree, there's not much excuse. We also have to remember that our parents didn't grow up in the world that we're in now. They didn't grow up anticipating the world being in the place that it's in now. To be honest, frankly speaking, I'm concerned about where it's going to be 20 and 30 years from now. You know what I'm saying? I'm 40, so 30 years from now, I'll be 70. I'm concerned about where we're going to be when I'm 70 and I'm talking to my grandbabies at this point. You know what I mean? So I do think that they take you as far as they know to take you. But that's not an excuse to, I think, to be completely absent, or if you've been hurt, to not heal from it. if parents sometimes hurt you because, they're growing up too, right? Let's be honest. Like I said, I'm 40, you're 38. I had kids and I had my first kid when I was in my 20s. There's a lot of shit that I did in my 20s that it's going down over here too. I hear it outside. I hear it. It's crazy out there. But like I had my first kid in my 20s, right? And there's a lot of shit that I said and did and thought in my 20s that 40-year-old evolved Trey would never say or think or do. Right. And so we also have to remember that in addition to them not growing up in the same world that we were going to be growing up in, they also were growing up themselves. And I don't mean to make that an excuse for people, because it doesn't excuse it, but it does provide an area, a lane for grace to abound. And I think in the same way children need grace for us as adults to understand, they're 5, they're going to do that. They're 11, that's what they think. They're 15, that's how it goes. They're 20, that's how it goes. In the same way we have that kind of, or it's expected for us to have that kind of grace with children. I think children who are now adults, right, also need to provide that same level of grace to their parents. My parents were far from perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And my mom will tell you to this day, excuse me, she'll tell me to this day that she was far from perfect. She made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of things she did that today and in her 60s that she would never have done now, right? Right? A lot of ways that she acted, a lot of things that, she might have neglected to tell me about because she didn't think it was that big a deal. And lo and behold, it became a huge deal, right? It happens. And I think that we have to provide some level of grace if we're going to heal from this trauma that we all tend to have. I think the best way to do that is, allowing grace to abound in this case.
Yeah. And no, I'm with you. I think the grace for us is, of course, hindsight. Like, damn, I was really hard, on my dad about this. I was really hard, with my mother about this. But now I understand. And that's a lot of what it is. Because, we're like, as parents, we're seeing it now. Like, now that our kids are more or less kicking our ass. Like, we're okay, I see why, such and such happened the way it did. So our grace for our parents happens after the fact. Which is, just it is what it is. Because of course, at 7, at 15, at 20, we got all the answers. So, that's the space that we're going to operate in with non-fully developed frontal cortexes and, zero impulse control and all of that. One of the things I count as a blessing is being a teacher, because since I've more or less gotten experience at every level, I can see, the changes, and I can kind of predict and like be a little more proactive about what to kind of like guide my son into, because I've seen it at the levels. I've seen what it looks like at the high school level when a parent doesn't support their kids in elementary and middle. I've seen, what it looks like when relationships fall apart at the middle school level, and now kids have to navigate divorce and, the parents, a parent having an affair, a parent having a child out of like, outside of the marriage, like that, those things and how they affect the children. So like I'm getting a look at these things and kind of just owning that, like that knowledge. And so, when some of these things look familiar, even though every kid will respond in their own way, but as these things begin to look a little familiar, I can at least be a little more prepared to address those things, which is, kind of what we were saying. Like, there's not always a scenario where our parents could have been prepared for it just based on their own experiences. So, that part you brought up about counseling or therapy is huge, because like at a point our community was like, nah, we don't go to therapy. We go to church. We talk to God, we talk to Jesus, and that's the answer. But like, it really wasn't the answer. It was giving us a space to suppress what was really happening. Like, we love Jesus. However, Jesus is not enough for like some of the issues that we're dealing with. So Yeah, it's
I certainly think. Let me say, I think Jesus is enough, but I
but
think that I got you.
yeah,
I think
let it go to
that,
hell. Yeah,
yeah, right, right. I think that I've said for the longest time, prayer is not a magic trick, and God is not a genie. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not what it is, right? So yes, should you pray without ceasing? Absolutely, you should, right? Should you seek God first and seek to hear God's voice? Absolutely, you should. But that doesn't mean that God won't speak through a therapist. It doesn't mean that God won't speak to a doctor, right? Like I believe in the healing hand of the Almighty, but that don't mean I'm not going to the doctor. That don't mean if the doctor prescribes medicine, I'm not going to take it.
right.
That's silly. And I know somebody. I'll just say in my family. I'll leave it like that, right? But I have somebody in my family who's like that. It's like, I don't need medicine. I want to just pray. He's going batshit crazy, literally going batshit crazy. And it's affecting the kids in a very negative way. I'll leave the rest of it out because that's neither here nor there. But the facts are that yes, you should absolutely, go to, take everything to God in prayer. But that's not the end of it, right? Faith without works is dead. So yeah, you need to pray and ask God to remove the hurt and remove the pain from you and stuff like that. But it's not like you just gonna wake up one day magically and just I feel so much better. Nah, dog, this takes some work. So you probably, you know what I'm saying? You need to pray, but then also go to therapy. Here we go. You need to pray. you need to pray. You need to also go to therapy. You need to go to therapy. You need to also pray. Right. And I know I get we might go there. I guess we'll go there for a few minutes. I don't know, but I know we do this every couple episodes or whatever. And I'm not trying to do it necessarily, but it is about God and therapy. You know what I'm saying? I'll do it later, but it is about that. It is about God. It is about God and therapy. You know what I mean? You got to get healed spiritually. You got to be healed emotionally, right? And those two things are very important. Just God works in different ways. So just again, God's not a genie. Prayer's not a magic trick. You're not just gonna say, God, I don't want to be hurting anymore, and then tomorrow it never hurts you again. Like that's it. No, it takes work to get that out. You tell God you don't. If you tell God you don't want this in your life no more, He's going to give you opportunities to work it out of your life. He's not just going to take it.
I want people to go watch Bruce Almighty.
Yes.
That. When I tell you, there are certain movies that bless you. Just like if y'all haven't seen Inside Out, one, like, go first of all, take your kids. If you have preteens or teenagers, they're really the ones who need to see Inside Out. But also, like, it'll get you together as a whole adult. So if you haven't seen that, that's one. But Bruce Almighty is one of them movies because when Morgan Freeman was talking to Jennifer Aniston, I want to say it was in that movie. He was like, when people go to God about patience, do you think God gives you patience, or does He give you opportunities to be patient? When you pray and ask for your family to be closer together, do you think He just zaps you with warm, fuzzy feelings, or does He give you opportunities for connections? Like I'm saying, like there once you talk to God about whatever it is you got going on, there has to be action behind it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that even exists in our human form. Like, we talk a lot about relationships here. Like, if you do have an extramarital affair, like, and your partner decides to stay, it's, what I'm saying, you can say, I'm not going to do it no more. But like, what action are you taking to make them feel secure enough to trust you in, like, now that you violated the sanctity of your marriage? You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, even in your friendships, like if you disappointed your friend by telling, some information about them that they share with you in confidence, like, and you apologize for it. Yes. But what are you doing to make them trust you that they can, like, confide in you in that same way, and you're not going to violate that trust again? Like, there has to be action connected to whatever it is in order for us to get to the point that we're trying to get to.
Yep. Exactly right. I love that point. And that was Bruce Almighty. I love that point that, God is going to give you the opportunity to work out the thing that you said you wanted to be worked out in your life. You know, I mean, it would be great if it were like television. I think Bruce Almighty was a great depiction of that, because another thing that happened in that movie was the vast majority of all the prayers were, God give me, God bless me, God grant me, God, right? You know what I'm saying? And I get it. I get it. You know, every man's the hero in his own story. I get it. You know, so you want to be blessed with different things, right? The prayer of Jabez, right? You know, bless me indeed, enlarge my territory, et cetera, right? So I understand that, but you know, how often are we praying for, you know, other people? How often are we praying for our enemies? Right. This is another thing that, you know, the Bible tells us to do. How often do we play? How often do we pray for those that try to play with you?
Right.
All right. You know, the Bible say pray for those that despitefully use you. I'm gonna just bring it into, you know, more current terms. How do you pray for those that play with you? That try to play with your life all up in your face. How often do you pray for them? And yet you're asking for patience, or you're asking for more guidance, or you're asking for more blessing, right? You know, you are blessed at the level that you can handle. I think you know, you're given what you can handle, especially if you believe in God. God's not going to give you more than you can bear. That includes exorbitant amounts of money, because some of y'all, if God granted your prayer, you won the lottery, will get yourselves in a whole lot of trouble within a couple years. Because ain't nothing about you actually changed. You just got a bunch of money in your pocket. You know? All right. Let me
Tricking off, man.
Tricking off on the most high. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why it's so important, as we wrap this up, to have God and therapy in your life. The cards right there on his head.
All right, so
that looks like a good one. Talk to us.
Yeah, so of course we were just talking about, you know, the action, the response to the action, and I mean a lot of this, you know, has been about communication, relationship, and you know, restoration, which again, our big theme is make marriages great again, make families great again, make being human great again. Like we lost, we lost the humanity in our humanness, and that part concerns me. So like rectifying situations is really big in this season that we're in. So my question to you, Trey, first, and of course I'll answer it. You know, shout out to Rich and Q. We hope y'all are doing well, and you know, we miss y'all and love y'all, and but how would I respond if I did something that made my partner angry? So how would you respond if you did something that made Sav angry? I'm gonna throw a little like extra element on it. So, or a couple. One, so knowingly. So how would you respond if you knowingly made her angry? And my added twist is a little bonus question. What do you notice in her when she's bothered, even though she hasn't said anything?
She doesn't say anything.
That's the unknowing part. So if you knowingly make her angry, how do you respond? And you know, what do you look for in the unknown? You know, in the body language, in the, you know, whatever.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna answer that as best as I can. So I'll start with what I noticed. So, you know, I try to take, you know, mental inventory of my wife and my kids regularly, like multiple times a day. Just kind of, you know, just make sure, check. And I check for little things. I check for, you know, their body language. Look at their posture. You know, my wife has a very upright posture, except when she's down about something, she kind of slouches a bit. So I noticed that. You know, you can always tell, kind of, you look in their eyes or look at their face, you know, it's a little bit droopy. And my wife will tell you, I ask her constantly, hey, are you okay? I noticed you were a little off. It could be anything little. Like I walk up behind her and, you know, I give her a hug and she's kind of, you know, hey babe, like that. I'm like, hey, whoa, are you all right? Is everything okay? Did I do something? And sometimes it is just oh, my bad. My mind was elsewhere. Sorry. And other times it's, well, this or that is bothering me. Okay. So I think you pay attention to the nonverbal cues. So to answer your original question of what would I do if I knowingly made Sav mad? So let me clarify. Are we saying if I did something on purpose to make her mad, or I know that I did something that made her mad?
Let me read the question again.
Okay.
Yeah, because all right. So how would I respond if I did something that made my partner angry? So when I hear it like that, let's say she brought it to you. That like,
okay,
like you weren't being petty. It's just, something happened. It didn't sit with her the right way, and she brought it to you. How are you responding?
Oh, okay. All right, great. What I was going to say was that I also, as I've said on multiple episodes, I've encouraged my wife to speak up, to speak her mind. I encourage her to say what's on her mind. And if I'm wrong, all right, great, we'll deal with that. If you're wrong, great, we'll deal with that. But I absolutely encourage her to speak up. So if she then brought it to me and told me what I did, I think there's a couple of questions I'd ask. I'd ask, of course, I'd ask what did I do, right? I would ask, how did it make her feel, or why did it make her feel that way? Because the other thing is, it could be she read it the wrong way, or it could be I said it the wrong way. It could also be just something in her head, right? I don't know. So I would want to investigate that. Like, why did it make you feel that way? And I think from there, I would, of course, me personally, I would probably defend my position. Like, I'd say, well, I wasn't trying to do that, whatever. But I think ultimately, my resolve would be, so in the future, how would you prefer me to handle this? Right. And I think that would be the ultimately that ultimately would be our resolve. So next time this comes up, because this will probably come up sometime. We're married, we spend a lot of time together, right? Something like this may come up again. If that does, then how would you prefer to handle it? Now, from there, there might be some push and pull and some twisting and fitting and stuff like that, right? She might, want it to be done a certain way. And I'm not about to sit up here and pretend that I'm just going to kowtow to whatever, because I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, I'm going to hear what she said and respond with a lot of empathy and make sure that we get to a middle ground. So she understands where I'm coming from whenever I say whatever, and I will adjust my tone, my words, whatever it is, so that as best as I can, so that it doesn't convey the same thing that upset her before. So in summary, I'll investigate the issue, find out why she feels the way that she feels, and then find out what can be done next time to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And of course, what kind of goes without saying is apologizing for hurting her feelings, right? Because, even if I don't think I was wrong, it still hurt her, and that's my wife, and I don't want to see my wife hurt.
Right.
So even if I don't think I was wrong, I'm still going to apologize for having hurt you, right? And, and then we'll kind of find a middle ground from there. So I guess that's the best way I can answer that question. I hope that helped.
Respect. And I mean, you hit a lot of it, which, I mean, it ultimately seems like it boils down to communication. I don't think I would deviate too far from there. Like, if you're bringing an issue to me in a way that's respectful, because I think that part is where we are now. Like, there's a lot that I can take, but you're not finna disrespect me. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel a kind of way, unless
right.
You. But as we read these questions, I don't get disrespect. I get you're genuinely angry. So you come to me in a respectful way, I will first acknowledge the way that you feel, because I think we lose a lot in disagreement simply because you can't even acknowledge the way that a person feels in the moment. So like you said, your thought process could be wrong. Your inclination could be wrong. How you got to this point could very well be wrong, but it is how you feel at the moment. So, okay, I can understand why you felt blah, 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 blah. This is actually what I was blah, 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 and we can correct the situation. Which I'm assuming that your partner's going to be open to that. So, like, these are the spaces that I would want to operate in. So I'm going to acknowledge it, then, clarify it. And much like I said about the last piece that we were talking about, if I really did do something wrong, then it's now my job to, like, ease your mind around whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I've been out a lot and I haven't created a date night for us, now that I've apologized for, like, ignoring you in that space, it's my job to be actionable and
that's right,
make a date night for us. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah.
If we haven't had quality time, I got to create the quality time. If I'm not checking in on you, like, you asked me all about my day, but I never said, and how was yours? Like, so you feel ignored. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little more open to hear from you. Babe, what's on your mind? All right, I do apologize. Come on, let me fix us a couple drinks and we can sit down and we can talk about it. Like, there should be that action that exists behind, whatever it is. So we're acknowledging the way you feel, much like you said. I'm apologizing for, making you feel that way, even if it wasn't my intention. And then we're going to put some action to, like, ease your thoughts in that space so that we're not feeling like this. Like, I want you to go to bed knowing that your man is going to take care of whatever it is this night so that we can grow and go forward. Like, that part's important.
Yeah, straight like that. We got to have a base to move forward in the end, right? Because otherwise we just bitching at each other. And I don't believe that that's helpful. I don't believe it's helpful to hold things that you're upset about. And I think we talked about this last week with deflecting, right? When your partner has an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right to hold on to things you have a problem with and not speak out on it, not speak up on it. I don't think that's right. And I also don't think it's right to speak up on it, but not have a plan or a basis to move forward. Right? Because at some point, we got to get out of this. What we say when we was online, the night has to end sometime, right?
Yeah. Sometime. Every night comes to an end, okay?
Every night's going to come to an end. At some point, this day's going to end, and we're going to wake up tomorrow. And the question is, we're going to wake up tomorrow still in the same place? I'm not a fan of that.
Please.
I'm not a fan of that at all. We're gonna wake up in the same place we went to bed at. That's part of why the Bible says, "Don't let the sun go down on your wrath," or in other words, don't go to bed mad. Don't go to bed angry. You know what I'm saying? It's particularly with your spouse. I think that's very, very important, or your girlfriend, or whatever. I think that's very, very important. And if we all should pursue people that we can have those hard conversations with and move forward. Because you can have hard conversations, but then let's be honest, man. Sometimes we have tough conversations where we disagree. Not me personally, but just the people. We have conversations with people, and they're tough conversations. And maybe we both are, vehemently on the other side, on opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Okay, cool. On this particular thing, but does this mean we can't? We can't move forward? Does this mean we can't be friends? Does this mean we can't talk? Does this mean we, you know what I'm saying? No, it just means we disagreed on this particular subject. We come from two opposite ends on it. Fine. Okay, cool. You think this way. I think this way. Great. How do we move this thing forward? And I think it becomes a problem when it's we can't move it forward. It's my way or the highway kind of a thing. And I think that's where that's a very, very slippery slope that I am not in agreement with.
Shit selfish.
Yeah. Now, and again, depending on how egregious the problem was, right? Because, if it's super egregious, it might be you have to do it this way or else kind of a thing. And I think you should be open to that if you end up in that situation. But I'm assuming it's just something like, I like you said, I didn't check on her the last couple of days. I came in from work and I unloaded everything that happened for me at work and all my thoughts and all my feelings and everything. And I didn't ask her nothing about her day. I didn't ask her nothing about her week. I didn't ask her how the kids were. I didn't do none of that. right? Just unloaded everything and then disappeared. You do that a couple days in a row. Yeah, she's probably going to start feeling some type of way. Okay, so I'm assuming it's something on those lines. And in those cases, yes, you need to address it. You need to find out what the root cause of it is and have a way to move forward. Have a plan of action to move forward. So how can two move together except they be agreed?
Except
I didn't know I was gonna be doing all the scripture quoting today.
Hey, listen, we know who we are and we know how we got here.
That's right, man. The foundation was laid in my life early on. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. The foundation was laid. So anyway, but that being said, that is that. I think that's a great topic, man. Good stuff. We put a wrap on this. Thank y'all. We appreciate all of you as always. And the best part of everything that we do, man. Thanks for y'all listening in. Kev, take us out, boss, man. How you feeling?
Feeling fantastic, man. Yeah, no, it was a great discussion tonight. A lot of things to just keep, stuff in perspective for us. And the object is always to be growing and be around strong-minded and, intelligent people that are going to push just greatness in the right direction. So thoroughly enjoyed tonight. Like I said, one more time, shout out to Rich, shout out to Q. We missed y'all tonight. Love you, brothers. And, look forward to seeing y'all soon. Y'all make sure y'all pull up some next week because it's just going to be a crazy time. And I know that it's going to be a good show. So tell a friend, like, subscribe, and, drink something, just not Aquafina. That's it.
Not Aquafina. We are judging you if you're drinking Aquafina. Okay, that's a fact. We made that very, very clear on this channel. I think that we're judging you for drinking Aquafina. Man, again, thank y'all. Like, share, subscribe, like he said. Next week is going to be a doozy. I hope y'all got something from this episode. Let us know in the comments what you got. Let us know in the comments what you disagree with. That's all good. No worries. We don't got all the answers. We just giving y'all our perspective and our thoughts. Next week is going to be much the same. Again, let us know what y'all are going to be thinking in the comments. It's going to be a good time. Bring your questions. Bring all the tough questions. We encourage that. We like the tough conversations because that's how we grow. Last thought I have for y'all is, as I always say, protect your mind, protect your eye gate, protect your ear gate, and protect that of your children. The world is going nuts. I don't know what the shit happened somewhere between 2019 and 2024, but somehow we done jumped into a whole different time loop or time warp, and now shit just doesn't make sense. Everything's crazy, everybody's crazy, and they're all coming after your mind and the mind of your children. Okay, I'm telling you, it's wild out here. So keep your mind gate guarded, keep your eye gate guarded, keep your heart guarded, keep your head on the swivel, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Until next time, we will catch y'all. Assuming nothing's changed in the last hour or so, we can still call you ladies and gentlemen. We out, and we will see you next week. Thank y'all again. Like, share, subscribe. Get ready for more King Talk next week. One more shot for the road. I poured it while Cam was talking. It's going down. See y'all on the next one.
Nobody tells you when you have kids how much you're going to miss your partner. Nobody talks about that.
You better stop preaching here.
Nobody talks about that.
We going to church? Is that what we doing?
And
yeah.
Come on now.
And my wife, Rachel, and I have gone through this.
The healthiest relationships and marriages, it will not only bring out the best version of you, but what people don't often reveal is that it will also bring out the worst version of you. In order for the best version of yourself to emerge, the worst version of yourself must exit the premises.
It's gonna be a banger next week as marriage coach Randy Sneed joins the conversation.
For the Force, the King, the Kamikaze, and the Great Incurable, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you had a good time tonight. Tune in next week. It's sure to be a crazy night. We'll dig into all the shenanigans next week. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell a friend to follow us. Catch you on the next round.